Hello, Gary Champion, Psychic Medium once again, doing a little morning video. Um, Yesterday I heard something interesting and I figured I could make a video about it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have given it to me because it has nothing to do with anything except you. Doesn't have any, well, maybe it is me. Uh, what I heard was holding pattern. Most of us, we get to a certain level in life and we're just in a holding pattern. We don't want to change socks. And I'm guilty of that. And I've worn the same clothes since I was a couple of years old. Blue jeans and a shirt. I'm They're a little better blue jeans now, but basically the same thing. I haven't really changed all that much. And I don't think there's anything the same about me. But apparently there's that one little thing which may mean that there's others. I prefer oatmeal to cornflakes. I don't know. And then I started thinking, what are the implications of this? What does this actually mean? And I realized they were if an airplane just circles and never lands, then that's kind of what they're showing me, is an airplane going round, round, round. Hold at 5,000 feet. Okay, well, no one ever gets home. Plane never lands. Your destiny's over here. Yet you're in a holding pattern over here. In order to get to the good stuff, you've got to get out of the holding pattern. Sometimes it takes really, really, really brave. You've just got to cut off through the woods in another direction. That old poem about um, I took the road less traveled by. I can't remember that. Frost. Two roads diverged in a wooded plain or something like that. It's amazing how that stuff sticks with you. In other words, perhaps you're not through developing. Maybe you were a roofer for 30 years and now you can't do roofing. Maybe now you um, go to law school. Maybe you learn to repair small engines, like lawnmowers, and all that stuff's pretty expensive. But your final destiny isn't cemented until you pass. Uh, and if you're circling when you pass, that's where you stopped. Then I started thinking, I have said these words a lot of times myself, uh, and I don't remember who about. Just random people. I don't think it's anybody I know. But you're waiting to die. It's kind of a bad thing to say, but you see people who are 100 years old and they know it. They should have passed. They can't. There's no enjoyment of life here. Everything has to be done for them. They're not even aware of who they are, so they're waiting to die. We're warehousing people in homes, waiting for them to die. And some of these people are the smartest people you'll ever meet. I've done some work in nursing homes and places like that, and they come up with the most interesting things if you listen to them. And of course, they'd see a new guy and they'd come over and ask who you were and what you were doing and everything. And then they'd tell you their story. They used to be a ballerina, or they used to sing, or they used to own their own law firm. And these people are still vital, except everything else is going. Their brains are very sharp. So they're in a holding pattern. They're waiting to pass. And I may be guilty of some of that. That perhaps, here comes Peanut. He's not in a holding pattern. He changes every 5 minutes. But perhaps I've gotten to a level of doing this and doing that, and maybe I'm in a holding pattern. And I got a book ready to publish yesterday, and it's a fictional book about a guy and a girl and a cockatoo and a bunch of other stuff. It's a crazy road trip thing, and I can't publish it. So I'm in a holding pattern there. They won't take it. It's got a couple little things outside the margins, and no matter what I do to fix it, and they don't have a phone number. So I'm in a holding pattern. But I don't really, and I am standing still. I have the same schedule over here on the wall. Check my website, heal myself, write on books, work on business. It's kind of one guy business here. Well, Bunny and I drink this juice that she's juicing for me, exercise, and lunch. Those are the things I have to do this morning. Of course, if there's some readings, then I do readings. Or if there's a healing, I stop what I'm doing, and then I try and re-engage on this list at some time during the day. That's what I do before lunch if I can't get it done. But that's a repeat process. Sometimes it doesn't get done. And I left town yesterday and didn't get back, and I didn't do any of those things. But most days I do. So I'm in sort of a holding pattern of repeating things. Why? That's a good question. It's not from because on other things in my life, there's no holding pattern. I have 3 books that apparently I have 3 books. I didn't remember. I remember the titles of them. I don't remember writing 170 pages as one. That's almost a book. But don't get lost in the idea that you've arrived. I've arrived. I'm here. This is special. I've got the best business. I got a nice house, and my family loves me, and I'm dedicated to this and that. So I have this wonderful life. You're in a holding pattern. Add something new to it, because pretty soon boredom sets in. Not just you, but whoever your spouse or children or whatever, they get tired of dealing with you because it's the same old crap day after day. As a teacher, in a junior high once, they accused me of that in a funny way in a newsletter at the end of the year. That I just never gave up on the same thing. There was a song called "On and On." They said that was my song because I just never. If they couldn't get something right, I would hang after it day after day till it was right. And it was annoying for them, but it was also they knew who I was. So there's a lot to be said for maintaining the same thing. People know how to approach you. You know, a long time I had a job, and then I switched into this, and no one got what I was doing. Cuckoo. That's the kind of stuff I got. He's normal. He's doing this normal job now. He's way out there, man. And I think at times I've circling the drain is more like it, but in a holding pattern. And then something sparks my interest, and everything changes. It goes that direction. That's what life is supposed to be about. You're not supposed to have eggs at 6:05 every morning. Life is dull, and you're waiting to die, even if you're 20 years old. If you repeat what you do day after day after day, that's insanity. That's a sign that you're crazy, that you're just repeating the same thing day after day. Wait for these little things to creep in. Oh, look at that. I was standing in a store once with a guy that I just met, like the month before. I was standing around looking at some stuff he had, and he came over and asked me if I wanted to work for him. I'd only had one conversation with him. I said, well, I really have a job. I mean, I've got a couple of degrees. I have this thing I'm doing over here. He says, yeah, just work on weekends. I said, well, I can't pass that up because it's never going to come this way again, that offer. You don't get that many people walk up to you and say, would you like to work for me? And don't know him. Met him once, maybe twice. Didn't talk much. He's a nice guy. I liked him a lot. And I guess he felt that we could work together. Now, I didn't know anything about what he wanted me to do. No clue. So I went out and bought some tools and equipment and bought one of these things and learned how to take it apart, put it back together, and do all these things. simply because I was intrigued by a job offer standing in a store one day, one Saturday. It's not a holding pattern, but people get entrenched. We have to do things this. My daddy did things this way. My mama did cook this recipe. We got to do this all the time. It's a repeat thing. And it is different with women. Men and women are different. Women have family that they're dedicated to, children to raise. So things do repeat often. Men, we're out there, and often the women who are raising those children are doing that in a repeatable thing. They set a fence. It's a repeat offense. And yet their job, they're very creative. They change in things all the time. If they don't have a job, and it drives them crazy. If they have a job, they have two facets. There's Bunny coming in, dragging in with Peanut. Oh, oh, this is some crazy black tea from the bark of a tree in Brazil or something. And see her saying, that's right. And these, yeah, we were watching television last night or something. I was somewhere and someone said zinc. And I said, do we have any zinc? He said, yeah, we used to take it. We don't anymore. Okay, so here's my zinc. Here's my crazy juice, which all has to do with my particular health. Not in a holding pattern. This is new stuff. These, never seen. Apparently I've taken them before, but it must have been years ago. So when I hear things, I react to them. I hear zinc, you do that, and my life is better, but I'm no longer in a holding pattern because I adapt. I don't always conquer, but I am adaptable. Okay, everybody wants to get to work, and Gary's doing a silly video. And we do it because we hold on to the past. We circle around in a holding pattern because we're addicted to whatever this was. We're imprinted with something, and we don't change as we should. This imprint here is meant to get you started in life. It's not supposed to be your life. As time goes on, you're supposed to adapt and change. Change jobs, change where you live, change directions, change everything. That's the nature of life if you're doing it right. If you're drinking the same buttermilk at 8 o'clock at night, you're in a holding pattern. And to a small degree, waiting to die. Because if you don't change anything you're doing in your life, you're waiting to die. What's your purpose here? You're waiting to die. If you're not adapting and changing and learning new things and developing yourself and helping those people around you, then you're stuck. And you're in a holding pattern. And sometimes it just takes someone else to point it out. Didn't you wear those shoes 15 years ago? Get some new shoes. No fear, no regret. I'm hearing something at the same time. No fear, no regret, no anger. Thanks for watching.